everyone, my name is Olivia H. Have, and I am the Youth and Community Health Educator here at Tucson Indian Center. Today is April 1st, 2022, and today is the national campaign for Take Down Tobacco. Take Down Tobacco, as I said, is a nationwide campaign to empower and encourage youth and others to stand up and speak out about the dangers of tobacco use. There has been remarkable progress in lowering youth smoking rates. And although we have made and come very far in lowering these rates of youth use of smoking tobacco, there is an all-time high of youth using e-cigarettes right now, and that is skyrocketing. Take Down Tobacco is a reflection of how far we have come, but also how far we still need to go and to achieve this tobacco-free generation that we all wish and hope for. So today I have come to you to encourage you to help me take down tobacco by learning about its health effects and also learning about what you can do in your community to help take down tobacco. Starting with cultural use of tobacco. So many Native American communities have used traditional tobacco for generations, and the difference between traditional and commercial use is very, very different. So traditional tobacco is natural and has no additives. Commercial tobacco is products like we all know today, like cigarettes, e-cigs, cigars, and chew. And these are manufactured by the big tobacco companies that we are trying to avoid or take down, really. And they're highly addictive and have cancer-causing chemicals and additives that are just very, very dangerous for everyone. The tobacco plant has been used for spiritual and medicinal purposes through the Native American communities. It's very central to cultures, spirituality, and healing. And these communities have used it for generation for these different purposes. And I'm going to read to you a short excerpt from a book called Tobacco Use by Native North Americans. So, after bearing real tobacco into their earth, the healers offer a prayer. Grandfather, I come now for medical treatment. Your grandson needs your aid. He is giving you a smoke offering here of tobacco. He implores you that he will get well because he is your child. He, your child, is pitiful. Hear now him, our grandfather tobacco. I beg of him that he help me when we plead with earnest heart that you take pity on your grandchild. So, as we know, when Native Americans were colonized, unfortunately, their traditional use of tobacco was taken with them, or taken away from them, as I should say. And many Native Americans today are trying their best to reclaim this traditional tobacco use, replant it and use it for what it was meant for, healing and spirituality, rather than hurt. And a lot of Native American communities actually warn against the very harmful effects that commercial tobacco has on our bodies. And as I wrote here, when used with respect in small amounts in prayers and ceremonies, traditional tobacco is a life-affirming, sacramental substance that confers enormous power on the people using it. So, going into commercial tobacco, it all starts out with marketing. Now, marketing is a very big asset in big tobacco industry and tobacco companies because this is really how they get a hold of people, especially youth. So, for many years, tobacco companies have promoted a richer, more glamorous lifestyle while using tobacco. It's kind of a way for them to get you to see it as more appealing, and um, they would do this from by different things like free government giveaways, aggressive sponsorships, and um, these companies have really used every trick in the book to hook Americans and others on their deadly products, really. Starting in the 1940s, that's when they started using doctor endorsements. And if you look at some of the ads that I have here, you see, these doctors would go on these campaign ads and use slogans like just what the doctor ordered, or more doctors use Camels, which is like a type of cigarette. And really, they're just misleading and basically saying, yeah, this is okay for health. So people were going to use it because if doctors are saying that's okay, then they're going to use that definitely. Moving on to the 1950s and 60s, we start seeing more celebrity endorsements. So celebrities are getting on and they're doing sponsored TV programs. They're paying A-list celebrities to appear in campaigns, and even using professional athletes to, kind of endorse these, the tobacco use and cigarettes, chew again, and everything. Moving on to 1990s, we start seeing more, like in the upper right corner, like the Camel over here, more kid-friendly characters, which gets a little bit scarier because now they're appealing to young kids and youth. Cartoon characters like up here, Joe the Camel. And we see ads as soon as we walk into a store. When you're leaving a store, checking out at a store, when you're entering a store, you see ads. When you're pumping gas, you see these ads for these cigarettes or anything else. As well as if you take a look in the middle picture, they're appealing to youth because they're making their products look like candy. Well, if it looks like candy, it's okay, right? It's okay to eat because that's safe. Candy is good and yummy. So why not try these different products? Which was just very, very scary. So what exactly is in a cigarette? What is making, or what is so bad for us? Well, really, there's approximately 600 ingredients in a cigarette. And when burned, cigarettes create more than 7,000 chemicals just after they're burned. At least 70 of these chemicals are known carcinogens or chemicals that cause cancer. Over 70, and that is a lot. They also contain a substance called tar, which, as we all know, tar is used to make the roads that we drive on, the black roads that we drive on, which is just very dangerous to be ingested and into your lungs. And if you just look at the picture, even things that you have around your house, household items like nail polish remover, batteries, rat and bug poison, ammonia. These are just some of the items, you would never put that into your mouth or ingest it, but when you take a cigarette, you are ingesting all of these different things at one time. Now, okay, so we do that. What happens if we do smoke cigarettes? Well, we have many, many health effects that come from smoking tobacco, chewing tobacco, anything like that. It is actually the cause of over 480,000 deaths each year. Avoidable deaths. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths, and When exposed to these chemicals, it can cause a multitude of different health effects, starting with the picture up at the top of the mouth. So gum disease, tooth decay, your actual bone in your teeth starts to decay and turn black and very making it difficult to eat and chew because your teeth are deteriorating. As I said, gum disease, throat and mouth cancers, cancers on your tongue, in your cheeks, just a lot of different very nasty sores that we don't want. Other cancers like lung cancer, it starts affecting your kidneys, your bladder. It also affects the big one, which is your heart, which is your main source of life because it's pumping blood throughout your entire body. Now, when you have all these chemicals in your lungs, it makes it hard to breathe in oxygen, right? So when you're unable to breathe in oxygen, your heart is unable to pump a lot of blood throughout your body, which is going to cause a lot of different health effects like the ones I mentioned before, as well as your brain is going to stop getting a lot of these blood. And when your brain stops getting blood, it causes things like strokes, which is very, very dangerous. Strokes cause another multitude of very awful health effects, sometimes even death, which is very, very scary. It also can cause an addiction. So it can cause an addiction in your body. It has a drug called nicotine, which actually binds to something in your brain that we have a chemical in our brain called dopamine, which releases when we feel happiness. Well, it binds to that in your brain, so that way when you're smoking, you're constantly feeling this happiness. And when you are away from cigarettes or tobacco, unfortunately, your body starts to crave that. And this can become very dangerous because you just want more and more of this product. And of course, that's going to cause the ripple effect of all these multitude of health effects. Also, as I mentioned before, tar starts to get into your lungs. So we actually have these little hair-like projections called cilia in our lungs. And they kind of look like this. They move in your lungs like this. And they help move microbes and debris like dust and pollen out of your airway so that way it's easier to breathe. Well, when your lungs are covered in tar, they stop moving like this and they just become still. They're unable to move. So, of course, because of that, you start getting even more, different infections and different things because of all that buildup stuff in there. It also makes it very difficult for you to breathe because your airway is not clear, so it becomes very hard to take a breath in and out. And these are just some of the many, many health effects that we can get just from smoking tobacco, chewing tobacco, any type of tobacco product, using any type of tobacco product. This then now brings me into e-cigarettes. The Pima County is doing a campaign. So we have the national campaign Take Down Tobacco, but the Pima County is also doing a campaign called Real Deal on Vaping, because vaping has become very popular in the young generations and this generation today. E-cigarettes are becoming very appealing to youth. They're very colorful, very, they seem healthier, as a lot of people say, because they say it's like water vapor that you're breathing in, and it tastes like candy because there's different flavors, and it has just become very dangerous for a lot of our youth today. So there's different versions, as you see in this picture on the left. There's mods, so they're battery powered, and then we have rechargeable e-cigarettes, and then we have disposable ones. Once it runs out of the juice, you just throw it away. Um, Most of these e-cigarettes do contain nicotine, which I talked about before is very addictive and can harm the adolescent brain because it's not fully developed yet, and these different things can very harm your brain. Um, it also contains other harmful chemicals and substances beside nicotine. So, of course, like I said, a lot of people see them as like a healthier version of cigarettes, but really it still contains a lot of these harmful chemicals. So a lot of these e-cigarettes they'll actually say they contain 0% nicotine, but those have still been found to have nicotine in them, which is very scary. Um, some aerosol flavorings, that's what they put in these e-cigarettes. They are, safe to ingest like by mouth, but when you inhale them into your lungs can't handle like cleaning out those substances, so it's actually very harmful for you. As well as the batteries in them have been found to cause fires and explosions because they're defective at times, which is very dangerous. And then, as well as the juice in them, which is the aerosol, it can actually get onto your skin and actually poison young children or even adults as well, because that liquid is getting on your skin or your eyes and being absorbed. And many of these poison control phone calls for the e-cigarettes are actually being called for 5-year-olds or younger, which is very, very scary to think about. Again, many people think they're not harmful because of this water vapor, but really the water vapor that we're thinking of is actually filled with things like nicotine, the different flavorings, cancer-causing chemicals, and even some heavy metals like nickel. This then brings me into the dangers of secondhand smoke. So again, we may be okay, I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to do that because I don't want those health effects. But I'll still hang around my friends who like to smoke too. Well, unfortunately, that is still very dangerous because you're still ingesting a lot of all those chemicals that I said, those 7,000 chemicals that I talked about before. That smoke is still getting into your lungs, which is very dangerous, especially for children, because these children are still developing and their lungs are still developing, their brains, and so when they're around this, it's very, very dangerous for them. Again, causing things like cancer. So, like I wrote here, every year, secondhand smoke is responsible for approximately 3,000 lung cancer deaths, which just very, very crazy to think about that. They're not even the ones that are using it, and they're still dying from it because they're around people that are choosing to smoke. And same with infants. If pregnant mothers are around others who smoke, or little babies, their lungs and their brains may not be developed the way they should be because of these very harmful effects. So again, just to review, for Take Down Tobacco, culturally, tobacco is a sacred plant that has been used for generations in these Native American communities and cultures. But when commercialized, by marketing, we see a lot of young youth and others using it in not a sacred way anymore. We're seeing these very harmful effects on our health and in our children that we don't want to see, causing many deaths, preventable deaths, as I should say. As well as secondhand smoke, although you're not the one that's using it, being around others that are still is harmful for you and your children. And we don't want to see that. So now, what exactly can you do to help, stop these tobacco companies, stop others from using these harmful cigarettes and tobacco products. So one, we could take the pledge. There's a pledge on the Takedown Tobacco website that you can take to say, hey, I'm not gonna be a part of this industry. I'm not gonna be a part of the ones that are using these tobacco products and causing these very preventable deaths. You could take it on the website, as I said. You can also come to Tucson Indian Center and see me, Olivia, and I have pledges that you can sign and take home and hang up. So I definitely encourage you to do that. 2, spread the word. If you see loved ones, using these products, let them know what is in them. Let them know, did you know that this is, preventable? This, these cancers are preventable. And if you see, your family, and just spreading the word about the health effects that you learned here in this video, and even talking to them about the cultural use of this of tobacco and where it came from, but also showing them that the commercialized tobacco industry is just very harmful for everyone. And finally, maybe you don't want to use tobacco anymore, or and you want to start having healthier habits, or you never used tobacco and you want to continue having healthier habits. Getting enough sleep, exercising, eating healthy, these are all ways to, feel that same happiness that you have felt before from using tobacco, and turning it into better and good for your overall health. So I just want to thank you all for coming and listening to this presentation, and just together, if we all, spread the word and continue our healthier habits, we can all end tobacco use and take down tobacco together. So again, my name is Olivia H. Have. I'm the Youth and Health Community Educator here at Tucson Indian Center. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to call me or email me. Thank you so much, and let's take down tobacco. Hello everyone, I'm just going to be showing a demonstration of what it's like when there is tar in your lungs. So, these coffee filters are going to be representing our lungs today. This molasses or corn syrup, dark corn syrup, represents the tar. And the water represents oxygen. So we have a nice clean lung, as we say right here, and that can go in this one. And this one we'll go ahead and cover with sticky, gooey tar. So you just want to rub that around, and this is going to be representing tar in our lungs, and what that would look like. So here we have the tar in our lungs. So now I'm going to pour oxygen into our lungs, and we'll see which one absorbs, or which lung allows oxygen through better. So if you can see, this one's filling up really quickly. This one's taking much more time to fill up. And the oxygen looks a little more brown on this side rather than clear on this side. And that's pretty much what it's like to have tar in your lungs. It doesn't allow the oxygen to go through as much, and there's still a lot of water in here that hasn't even made its way through. It can't even get through. So, and this one's empty.